Hello everyone, welcome back with me Gulo in Jadi PNS. Now we are flying to Johannesburg in South Africa. Now we are going to meet with one of inspiring women from Africa, and she is a multi-award winning journalist and also trusted as an ambassador for United Nations Refugee Agency, and also she expands her entrepreneurship soul and passion, and she founded Rallinca Media. Here with us, Ancillar Nombewu. Hi, how are you, Ancillar?
I'm very well, Gulo. Thank you for having me. Hello, Indonesia. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, hello, South Africa, and everyone around the globe watching us right now or later on after this video is uploaded. And we're happy. Thank you for sharing your stories and motivation and life-changing experience with all of us here. And we hope that everyone, particularly that young people across the globe, can have such a role model, particularly for women, that they need more role model to make a real impact in the community and also in the world. And we cannot, wait more to know about Ancillar. And would you like to tell us about yourself?
Sure, Gulo. My name is Ancillar Nombewu, and my surname before was Mangen. I got married, so I've got a new surname. I was born in Zimbabwe. That's where I was born, and I spent a lot of my childhood in Zimbabwe before I moved to South Africa to pursue my university career. And the move was really due to the economic impact and even the political situation in Zimbabwe. So it was better for me to be able to come to South Africa, where my family has been based for over 20 years. So I came to the University of Johannesburg and I studied journalism, something that I was meant and born to do. And I became a journalist. And listen, journalism is something that was born in me, with me, something that I was born to do. And I've experienced so much through that career and enjoyed so much. And then through my journalism journey, I've been blessed to also find my entrepreneurship spirit and find my place in entrepreneurship, my voice in entrepreneurship itself. So I'm also now an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Rallinca Media, which is a PR and marketing firm. We're based in Johannesburg, but we've got presence in 5 African countries already. And we just started working last year in Europe as well. So I'm so excited. We've got 2 clients based in Europe. And we're trying to get into those markets as well. And then I'm also the founder of Fresh Genie. We're launching it this month. It's my birthday on Saturday, and we're launching Fresh Genie, my new business. It's a meal kit delivery service. If you know about Hello Fresh, it's something similar to that I'm launching in Johannesburg on my birthday this coming Saturday. And listen, I'm an age to achieving. I live in purpose. I do what I was born to do. And I'm excited to make my life count.
Yeah, sure. It's beautiful to hear that. There's so many achievements and accomplishments that we have, done so far. This is inspiring. And before we move further about your career and your business, we want to know about what is little Ancillar like.
What is
little Ancillar like?
Oh, little Ancillar. Oh my goodness. When I was young, I was so timid. I was very shy and very giving. It's so weird that, maybe you'll see it through the screen. I've got the shakes, like my hands are always shaking. Sometimes my voice gets shaky. So I am very timid, but then as I grew, I managed to figure ways to overcome it so that I can become the person that I know I need to become to live in the spaces that I live in. I was very timid, a little bit shy, very beautiful. I remember growing up, everyone always spoke about how beautiful I was. Like, oh my goodness, you're so pretty. And I'm like, yeah, it's the dark-skinned girl. You know how everyone is going about dark-skinned girl power right now? Listen, that was me in the 90s growing up. I've always had such gorgeous dark skin. So I think my parents did such a good job in telling me how beautiful I was, so that I don't feel like I don't belong. Because, as a Black woman, there's a lot of issues around colorism. The lighter you are, the better you are. You know, people of color, we've got so many advantages just because of the way we look. But my mom did such a good job in talking about how unique I was because of my skin tone, my voice, my being, and all of that. So even as a young girl, in my shyness and my timidness, I knew I was beautiful. I was shy, but I walked with my head high. I was shy, but I spoke with confidence. I was shy, but I knew that I mattered because of those things, words of affirmation, and the teachings that my mom made sure I get.
And now we have seen big Ancillar right now, and you have changed a lot from your, you know, like your childhood, and then how all of the experience it shaped Ancillar right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And also you have been known as a multi-award winning journalist. Where does your passion in journalism come from?
I was born to do it. You know, I have always, as far as I remember, I've always been a great storyteller. We just spoke about the little me. I'm gonna take us back there now again. When I was little, I was that kid that was always able to narrate stories. If we go somewhere, I was able to paint the color for somebody who wasn't there, to tell them how it felt like, how the room looked, how the type of experience the people in the room were feeling. So for my entire life, I've always been a journalist, just that I wasn't practicing journalism. But in terms of my being and my storytelling, I've always been a journalist. And I always say that I don't think that I'm just a journalist, I'm a storyteller. I enjoy telling stories of triumph, stories of goodwill, stories that change people's lives, stories that make people feel good, stories that make people feel that they matter. So from when I was young, I always had that. And I discovered that I was supposed to be a journalist on my birthday. Heck, we're going to talk about my birthday so much because it's my birthday month. It's less than a week away. So listen.
Happy Thursday anyway.
Come on, we're gonna keep on talking about it.
Happy birthday, girl. Talking with us this month.
So my birthday is so significant because I discovered I was supposed to be a journalist on my birthday, September 11, 2001. We know what happened on that year. I remember a few months before that, my parents had just gotten a divorce, and it was such a weird space in my life. And I remember asking my mom for stuff, asking my dad for stuff. Listen, I knew how to play my parents are getting a divorce card, right? As a kid, I knew I could get everything I wanted. A little bit manipulative, I suppose. But so I remember that year I'd asked my mom for a bicycle. I really wanted a nice pink mountain bike. And I remember coming home from school being so excited. It's my birthday. It was a Wednesday. I'm gonna get my gift. I finally get my bicycle. But when I got home, I expected my mom to scream, surprise! But there wasn't no surprise. She was seated watching the television the whole time. I remember we had a small black and white Sony television and this brown checkered couches. My mom was sitting so vigilant, watching the news with the remote in hand at the time. And I went and sat down with her because I was like, what's so intriguing? It's my birthday, we should be having fun. And I realized what had happened. The Twin Towers had fallen and there was so much pain and destruction happening in America at the time. I remember that day spending the whole afternoon, the whole evening watching the news. I was so intrigued by the journalists on the ground. I was so intrigued by how they gave me chills. Literally, the skin and the hairs of my body stood just with the way in which they described scenarios. I felt the pain of the families who had lost their loved ones. I felt the fear through the pictures, through the stories that they were telling, through the type of people they chose to interview. And I spent the whole night watching television. I couldn't even go to school the next day because I hadn't slept at all. I remember holding a Coca-Cola bottle and I'll go, Ancillar Nombewu, reporting live from Washington, DC. Ancillar again, reporting live from New York City, because I was like, I want to do this. These people are able to make me feel like I'm in New York right now. And I'm all the way in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe at the time. So that day I realized that my storytelling goes further from just telling family stories and stories that happen around me to it being an actual career that can be impactful in keeping people aware of what's happening in the world and protecting people and being a gatekeeper of society. So that's how I knew, or rather, that's how I discovered what I was born to do. And then from then on, I haven't looked back. And yeah.
Thank you. There's journalistic stuff that women, handles just like yourself. That's great. Thank you. And as a journalist, what's your best advice? So someone out there pursuing a journalistic industry.
Find your voice. I think there is so much imposter syndromeness that you'll find in this space, especially as a woman, because there's so many great journalists, right? Oh my goodness. Even Oprah had an imposter syndrome. Remember how she always tells the story of when she started as a journalist, as a news reporter, she was trying to talk and sound like Barbara Waters at the time. Imagine had she stayed with that, we wouldn't have an Oprah Winfrey. We wouldn't have had a, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. We wouldn't have had that. That powerful voice that we know and now love and appreciate, wouldn't have had that. So the biggest thing that I even had to do in my own life, and that I would advise every woman or man trying to be a journalist, is find your voice. No matter how weird you think it sounds, no matter what quirks you have, you're special in your own way. So use all of that, because nobody is like you ever. They're the only person who is like you. Even if you have an identical twin, they don't have everything that you have, you're still you. So find your voice within the space and stick to it. Stick to your voice, stick to your lane, and you'll be able to thrive in the industry. And don't get into journalism for fame. That's the pity that I find with a lot of people now, because they want to be on television. They want to see their bylines on news articles. Don't get into it for that, because number one, there's no money in journalism. Let me tell you. There's a lot of more other careers out there like tech, etc., that will make you rich fast. Not journalism. Journalism is a calling. To me, journalism is like politics. It's not a career that is meant to enrich you. It's a career of service. You're there to serve the people. Find your voice and serve the people, and not serving yourself.
Thank you, Ancillar. That's interesting. You already said like journalism is a politics. What do you mean by that?
So it really is about service. I'm Christian, so I'm going to answer a little bit of that, touching on the Bible, if anyone reads the Bible. So if you go to the Bible and the way in which God chose leaders, he chose leaders who were meant to lead the people and take care of the nations. And it was a calling. It's not something that you wake up and then say, oh, what can I do? You know, a lot of young people, maybe you're in high school, whatever, trying to look for a career and decide what subjects, etc., you should take and what career path you should take at university. Being a journalist or being a politician is not that. You don't just wake up, or you don't just fall into it like, oh man, I should be a politician, because you get so frustrated. It's something that you're called to do. Something, it needs people who get so much joy and fulfillment in being in service of other people. Imagine if every political leader in the world right now cared more about us than themselves, how better the country will be. They make better decisions within, whether it's health or finance or economy or education, whatever it is, they'll make better decisions. They're decisions that matter to me and not decisions that matter to them. So one of the biggest problems that we face in the world, and even so in Africa right now, is because our leaders are in politics just for the fame, for the money, for the status, or I'm boss, or I've got control, people fear me, people. And that's not what politics and leadership or journalism is about. It's about you serving the people. You know what? I'm reminded of, when I think of a journalist or a politician, I think being in this huge I beg your pardon, huge castle, huge castle, right? And the castle is falling apart, it's crumbling. Everyone will be running out, and I would see a journalist and a politician holding the castle with both hands like this, blood gushing through their hands. They will hold it together. The journalist will be there holding it, screaming to people, run, run, run for cover. It's going to be okay. There's ambulances coming outside, giving people information so that they can make better decisions and be that gatekeeper. And a politician will be holding on to that castle with both hands, with blood gushing over his hands, saying, I'm here, I'm making good decisions. I'm going to collaborate with this country and that country. I'm going to call this organization and that organization to give us aid. That's what they do. They don't run with everyone else. They don't run with everyone else. They stand there, but then our politicians, they really care more about themselves, and that's not what we should be doing. Listen, Gulo, that's a whole other conversation when we talk about politics and how we can build Africa specifically. That's a conversation I'd actually like to have one day, because there's so many lessons that we can learn as Africa, especially from Asia. I mean, if I look at what China was when I was born, I was talking about me in 2001. I didn't have the perception I have of China today that I had then. And China wasn't the same, is not the same state it was then that it is now. So there's so much that Africa can learn from Asia, from China, to be able to grow our continent, because our continent is beautiful. We've got resources, we've got smart people, we've got everything that we need, except the right type of leadership that will take us to the areas and spaces that we're supposed to be navigating.
Thank you, Ancillar, for your insight about journalistic is something politics. Thank you. That's a great insight. And beyond your journalism world, you're also known as an entrepreneur. And how did you get into entrepreneurship?
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. So I got
interesting.
So because you're interviewing a journalist, expect a lot of stories and a lot of talking. So I got into entrepreneurship because I was blessed enough through my career, my hard work, and my confidence in myself and wanting to grow in the space. I was headhunted by Forbes Africa magazine just soon after graduating. It's about a year or so after graduating when I was at another job. So I'd been working with Forbes. And you know what? The blessing of being part of the Forbes Africa team for me was sitting with the world leaders. I was interviewing Africa's richest people one-on-one. Imagine being in a room.
How was it feeling? Interview Africa's richest people person?
Listen, it was amazing, but for some reason for me, I always thought I would feel like a fangirl, but I never felt like that at all. It was all about consuming what they had to say. It just felt normal. It felt like I'm just talking to my grandmother or my grandfather. It felt so normal, but with so much wisdom, the same kind of wisdom I get from my grandmother. So I found myself in rooms with billionaires, with millionaires, with thought leaders, with innovators, with disruptors every single day. That's how work looked like for me. When I woke up every day, I was going to be in a room with either a billionaire or a millionaire or an innovator or a disruptor. So imagine having that every single day of your life. It will be impossible for you not to be inspired. So while I would learn so much and take so much wisdom and insights, most of them are in my circles, most of them give me advice. I send a text here and there. And so I made sure that I used this space and that I had been given to form good networks. And while I was doing that, I got to meet young entrepreneurs
All
who
right.
would ask for my help because I write well. I know what branding looks like, how people can build businesses, etc. Through help by my journalism as well, but I think also a lot of natural talent there. And I'll get these entrepreneurs coming to me asking me, oh, so how do you think I should tell the story? So for example, I would get somebody who's in tech. They know how to build an app or this disruptive platform, but they don't know how to communicate it to the public because everyone has got their strengths, right? So they'll come to me and say, Ancillar, could you please help me communicate this better? How can I market this better? How can I brand this better? How can people understand what the business is about better? And I found myself at one time, I remember in 2017, I used to do the Forbes 30 under 30 list. In 2017, from the previous classes of 30 under 30, I had about 17 plus entrepreneurs who were asking me, please write a press release for me. What do you think about this picture or that video? How can I tell this better? And I was always giving all of this advice every day because I like those people. I call them my kids because I have to hunt for those entrepreneurs, until they get into the list. And I got to a point, I'm like, clearly there is a problem. Those people don't have a place to go that can give them this kind of guidance that they're looking for. And when I spoke to more of them, they told me about how expensive it is. So even if you're on the under 30 list, you're still trying to grow your business, right? You're not trying to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just for PR and marketing. Big PR firms would charge a lot of money. So they'll come to me because they're trying to save. Some of them are startups. As startups, you don't really have a lot of money to just be spending on stuff. So I saw that there was a huge gap in the market specifically for startups that are looking to communicate their businesses better. So through that, I founded Rallinca Media, which is, again, through Oprah's help, a play of words or letters of my name. It really is Ancillar spelled, juggled up. Founded Rallinca Media, which started as a company that helps startup entrepreneurs from the continent and outside the continent get more disruptive in the way in which they communicate, in which they tell their story. So we help them from writing press releases to writing content to marketing strategies, branding ideas, expansion, which is something we've been doing a lot of because some of them just need that jump out of South Africa or Zambia, whatever country that they live in, and they want to expand into other markets and they want to expand into Europe. So we've been doing a lot of that. And remember, I'm a person who's born to serve. Ancillar, by the way, my name means an aid to achieving, or somebody who masters something that is difficult. So I get so much joy when I help someone achieve something that they've been dreaming of. It's insane. It's never about what I achieved. I want to see my thing here and being the best thing. When I help someone and their thing becomes the best, I get so much joy. I feel like that's my thing too. So I want to travel the world and the continent and see tall buildings of startups that I started with, of people who, were starting their businesses with no money at all. And I was there to help guide them, help build, and help through my PR and the skills that I have. So that's what we do at Rallinca Media. Such fulfilling work that requires a lot of commitment, but it's very key how we choose our clients. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like the type of service that I enjoy doing and I want to do. So that's what Rallinca Media is about.
Thank you, Ancillar. That's insightful. How your journalistic, experience gives you wisdom and insights. How, to get into entrepreneurship world. All right, that's interesting. And we're wondering what kind of businesses are you running?
Yeah, so Rallinca is a PR and marketing firm. We do a lot of branding. We do a lot of, so somebody could come to us, for example, with just an idea. I want to start a tea company, for example. So we can help them from start to finish at that tea company. We help people communicate better. We write, we edit, we shoot. There's a lot of production that happens, especially using new media. And I'm very excited about a new company that I'm founding called Fresh Genie. It's a meal kit delivery service. You know, there's a lot of, you read news every day and learn about how Africa has the most land. Everyone talks about that. 60% of land in Africa is undeveloped, etc. But it's land that we're not utilizing right in some aspect due to, most importantly, history, colonization, and the impacts thereof. So with Fresh Genie, we are dealing with the food crisis that we have in Africa. So first and foremost, we help people eat better through creating great recipes for them. And every day or a chosen day within a week, they receive a box with very good ingredients, and then they get meal cards and they're able to prepare their meals at home. And the big aspect of that will be then to help smallholder farmers that we have on the continent by buying from them, so they become our suppliers. So instead of us going to the big companies, we work with small farmers who then give us their produce directly, meaning that we're impacting directly those farmers and their families. And we're dealing with waste within the food space. You know what happens in restaurants, and everything just gets so thrown away, yet there's so many people who are hungry. So we're dealing with wasting of food, we're dealing with how food can be grown better, the green aspect of it. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to talk more about it. It's launching next week, so yeah.
Nice. All right, so according to yourself, who do we need to be a successful entrepreneur?
Sure. You need to be your most authentic self and keep working on it. So I'm currently reading the book, What Happened to You. It's Oprah's latest book she wrote it along with Dr. Bruce. And the book touches on, you know, most of the time when somebody acts different or has problems in their lives, people will say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And the book challenges that notion. It says, instead of saying to people, what's wrong with you, say, what happened to you? Because most of the characteristics that we have in our lives, all of us, are due to the things that have happened to us. So for you to be a great entrepreneur, the best version of yourself, you need to literally spend time with yourself. And as millennials, we don't do enough of this. I don't even want to touch on Gen Z. Probably not at all. Spend time with yourself, spend time with your thoughts, in which you get some sort of calmness to look at your actions and look into who you are. And when you understand that, you're able to be very critical of yourself. So for example, with me, I realized that, heck, I'm a bit of a people pleaser. And I'm like, why? Where did that come from? Because as far as I can remember, I've always had some people pleasing in me. And then I realized that also I like to prove people wrong. When somebody says I can't do something, I work so hard just to prove them wrong. And it's something that I used to speak about so much with my head held up high like this, and I'll prove you wrong. And it's something that I would like brag about. And the more I look at it and talk about it and look within myself, I realize, no, man, you shouldn't be living your life trying to prove other people wrong, because are you living your life or are you just trying to prove people wrong through your life, right? So to be the best version, in my opinion, you need to look deeply within yourself, see all the good and all of the bad. And then once you have that, go back to figure out what happened to you for you to form those characteristics that you have. And once you understand that, then you're able to risk manage, right? I always say in my businesses, I'm always the big risk because of certain characteristics that I have. For example, I don't want to just shout at employees and so that's a risk, right, in a business, because when your people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing and you're not reprimanding, then you have the risk within your business. So you have to look critically to yourself, and then figure out where the growth areas are, and then work diligently every day to improve those growth characteristics. And then you become as close to a well-rounded person that you'd like to be. And it's a journey, it will never stop. It's like, you know how it's a journey like going to heaven, right? Every day we're like, yeah, Jesus is gonna come, but every day you have to, it's a journey, you're living every day. So it's a journey that's like that. You have to work on yourself every day, but you can't work on yourself if you don't know what happened to you that impacts what you think you are, in order for you to be able to build who you truly are.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And again, talking about your business, when did you face the hardest time as an entrepreneur, and how did you deal? How do you solve it?
My hardest part right now with entrepreneurship, I mentioned that it's me being the biggest risk. So when I started my business, because I've got this, I want to help everyone personality or characteristic with me. I'll take everyone around me, from childhood friends and their families, etc., and give them jobs. Just because that person doesn't have a job, and that person, whether they're qualified or not, I didn't care. I was like, oh, do they work hard? Do they really, really want a job? Okay, come on board. I'm hiring you. Biggest mistake of my life, because it meant that I was hiring people basically out of pity, because I want them to be able to pay their rent and get food onto the table. But that's a terrible business decision. Over time, I realized that those people become the people who, number one, can't deliver work. As much as I try to teach, it takes long to teach. For me to be able to do what I do now, it started then, 9/11, 2001, learning to be a better communicator. So that's almost all my life, learning how to be a better communicator. And then I get somebody who knows nothing, and then I expect them to be able to communicate for brands. Just because I don't want them to sleep without food, or not to be unable to pay their rent. So my hiring in the past was the biggest downfall within my businesses, where we find ourselves in spaces where we can't deliver to clients, or we can't deliver accordingly to clients, or the things that people come to my business because they know what I can deliver. They've seen my work. They come to the business because of what Ancillar can do. And I wasn't hiring Ancillars or better than Ancillars. I was just hiring people who needed jobs, meaning that we're not able to deliver the Ancillar or better kind of work. So I got burned many times, and then I had to then sit and be honest with myself and realize that just because I know somebody who is unemployed doesn't mean they need to be employed in my business. There's other ways of helping. So because I think people would come, sometimes you feel some sort of guilt that you've got this business that's doing so well, and these people don't have jobs, and they're coming to you for a job, and you say no. So I got to learn how to help people differently. Sometimes now I help people through advice. Sometimes I help people through understanding what they really want to do, and then trying to connect them with people within my networks who fit the characteristics that those people hold. Sometimes you find that sometimes people just need an ear. So I had this solving thing in me, that when somebody comes to me with a problem, I just want to solve it. Sometimes people don't just want you to solve their problems, and sometimes it's not the right thing to do to just solve somebody's problems. Sometimes you just have to listen and say, it's going to be okay. Hold their hand, it's going to be okay. Sometimes that's what people like or need. So I've had to then differentiate people around me through those different types of areas and figuring out the right ways to help without jumping to always solve their problems by hiring them.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That's a thought-provoking answer.
Yeah.
And I'm personally wondering, what does it look like to be an entrepreneur?
It's not as fancy as we make it look. People, there's this huge trend that's happening right now where everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. And when I worked at Forbes, I used to, knock off when I wanted to. So I've always liked working long hours. But when I wanted to work 8 hours in a day, I could do that and nobody would question me. With business, with entrepreneurship, you leave at 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, and you start at 6 to 10 p.m. It takes so much time, so much hard work, so much dedication, because nobody's just going to pay you at the end of the month, whether you delivered or you didn't. You're answerable directly to your clients. You have to invoice, you have to think about your stock, so many different things within your business. So being an entrepreneur means long hours, especially right now as a startup. And with every billionaire that I've ever met through my career, none of them work less than 12 hours a day. They work long hours still. Heck, find Elon Musk, he sleeps like 4 to 6 hours a night? And he's Elon Musk. And then there we are as young entrepreneurs making 50,000 a month or less, and you think you can own your hours. Take that out of your mind. There's no, I own my hours. Your business owns your hours, because you don't have time off. Even when you're off and on vacation, at some point you need to respond to a certain email. You need to deliver certain things. So being an entrepreneur, I learned that. But I then got to a point of also realizing that my business was running and even ruining my life because I didn't have a life outside of me being an entrepreneur. Then processes come into place, right? Then I'll say, I'll do this for 3 months, and every 3 months I've got 2 weeks off where I'm not going to even open my email. But it means that I'm able to prepare for all of that. When I leave, my clients are well taken care of. Nobody is going to need me. My employees know what they need to do and when they need to do it, and all the major things that need to happen have already been done. So plan your diary so much that you still have self-care, but your self-care doesn't affect your business. Because there's a time where, Gulo, I was not diagnosed as depressed, but I would think I was, where it would even be hard to get out of bed because of the pressures, where I'll turn off my phone for a week because every time my phone rings, somebody wants something from me. And I'm like, I've got nothing else to give. I'm like, I can't. And I don't even want to switch on my phone. And I realize it's because I'm not setting the right boundaries for myself and for my business. And I can do that through planning and planning well and planning ahead of time to be able to have some sort of balance within my life.
Thank you. Thank you, Ancillar. Now we can feel like how entrepreneur, looks like. And we're wondering, as a female entrepreneur, what does it feel?
It's heavy and good at the same time.
Happy and good at the same time.
Heavy and good at the same time. You find women in general have the hardest load. Because we are nurturers, right? Everyone talks about how we're nurturers, how we're this and that. And now, because the world has changed, we also work or run businesses. So in addition to us working and run businesses, which is what most males do provide, right? Now as women, we are providers and nurturers and friends and moms and the cooks and the cleaners and. So we find ourselves in spaces where the load is a lot. So in African culture or Southern African culture, there's this saying that I'm trying to translate it into English. A woman is the backbone of society. So they even say, educated girl, you educate the world, because that's who we are. So even when I find myself in a space where I'm an entrepreneur, I know that I'm an entrepreneur, not just for me, but for me and the world. So it's a burden, a blessing, and a curse at the same time, because it's already an expectation for me as a woman to be able to uplift not just women, but the entire community as a woman, because I'm nurturing, right? I'm giving, right? I'm loving, right? I've got a soft touch, right? So it's expected. So even in areas where sometimes you feel like you're not able to, well, it's expected within your families. So that's the burden, but the blessing becomes that this day and age, there's so many opportunities that are coming specifically for us as women, and even more so as women of color. So that's a blessing, because it means that I'm able to fulfill the things that I want to fulfill, and I'm able to own a bigger space and fight for women's rights and fight for to see more women get into the spaces that they want to get into.
Thank you. That's a female entrepreneur. That's happy and good at the same time. And talking about your business, and how do you decide to partner with someone in your business?
Oh, partnerships. Partnerships for me are so intentional and the most personal thing. I don't partner a lot just because of that. It needs to be somebody who is on the same journey with me. Just like you and I having this conversation. Same journey.
On the same journey.
Same journey. So it needs to be somebody who, my favorite song, let's talk about this. My favorite song is by Beyonce. I was here. I was here. I lived. I loved. I was here. So that song, the lyrics say, I've done everything that I've ever wanted to do. I left my footprints on the sands of time. I was here. I only partner with I was here's, bro. If you don't want to leave your footprints on the sands of time, I got no time for you. If you want to talk to me just to get the gram, or I know that celebrity or that president, I'm not the one you should be talking to. Go through another avenue. For me, I want to partner only with people who want to leave their names on the sands of time. So it's very personal. Even through the types of clients that we take at Rallinca Media, it's people who want to do that. If you just want to be famous, I can't help you. So partnerships are very personal. It's all the different types of avenues that I would want to one day go into. So I'll give you an example. One day I would like to, I've got a passion and a like for the hair care industry, right? In the hair care space. But when I looked at my life, I'm like, you know what? There's so many things I want to do. I don't think that I'll be able to start a brand that does that and market it and push it. And it's a lot. So why don't I just partner with a company that does that? So my partnership could be through the way in which I do their PR. So all the things that I would have done for my business, if I had that business, I do that for that person as my client. Then I'm fulfilled, right? I feel happy. Every day it feels like I own a haircut business, yet I don't. But it feels like I do, because every idea that I have within that space, I'm leaving every day and give those things to my client, and they can grow, and then I'm fulfilled. So I only partner with people who want to leave their footprints on the sands of time. Even you and I having this conversation now, it's because I felt that kind of synergy. Otherwise, I would have said no. So that's how I collaborate.
All right, thank you. This is how you collaborate with people. And then so far, Ancillar, what is your greatest accomplishment?
It's been knowing who I am. Greatest thing could ever done. And it's something that I fight to keep every single day. Just because I know who I am doesn't mean I don't suffer from imposter syndrome once in a while. Doesn't mean that I don't feel pressures of the world. Doesn't mean that I feel like I could be doing better but because I've got that base and that foundation of knowing who I am, I've got something to go back to that keeps me grounded. I always say, people always like saying that you need to be grounded. You need to be grounded. I'm not grounded, Gulo, at all. I'm not grounded, but I'm rooted. My roots are deep. And my root is knowing who I am. I'm rooted. I'm not grounded at all. So that's the biggest accomplishment for me. I can do anything, all these awards and whatever, these things come and go. It's how everyone else sees me or validates my work, but not who I am and who I know to be. Greatest accomplishment by far, by far.
All right. From accomplishment, now we are going to the future. What's your biggest dream in the future?
My biggest dream is to sing Beyonce's "I Was Here," laying in my deathbed and happy to die. I want to be happy the day I die. I want to have a glorious death on my deathbed, and I'm sleeping there. I'm like, oh, my grandchildren, oh my God. Let's have a party, bring some things, have some fun. I was here, and it's 2 minutes to 12. Okay, I've got 2 minutes, and I'm going. I love you all. Bye-bye. I was here. Gone. I die. That's how I want to die. I want to die like that. That's my biggest dream. I want to die so fulfilled and so happy and so joyful with an overflowing cup.
Thank you. That's interesting. Also,
ridiculous for some, I know, but I mean, I can't think of anything better. Is there anything better than that?
Yeah.
Knowing that you've done everything, you're like, oh, guys, bye-bye. Like when you're going to the shop or you're going on vacation and you say bye to people. I want to do it like that, and I'm actually dying.
All right, interesting. Yeah, there's interesting and unique and personal. Yeah, because achievement in the future, because it doesn't have to be you have to own stuff. You have to have like bigger house or stuff. Everyone has different biggest dreams in the future.
Yeah.
And Ancillar, before closing our talk show, last question: what is Ancillar's hope for a better world?
Sure. My hope is for people to be kind. If we are to love each other like we love ourselves, and be kind to each other, and even be kinder to ourselves, it will really change the world as we know it. All of the ills that we talk about would not be there, because you wouldn't harm yourself or want to. If you're kind to yourself and you love yourself, you wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. And if you love everyone else in the world, from the environment to other people, you wouldn't do that. Got huge environmental issues right now, because we're just seeing the environment as a place that's disposable, right? We just throw paper and boxes and plastic wherever, whether it's in the sea or not, because we don't love it, right? Because you wouldn't do that to your own body and yourself, but we're doing it to the environment. Neither will you do it to other people. So I just hope people can be kind to themselves and kind to one another.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for the talk show, and you deserve an applause. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to come to Indonesia. I'm so excited.
Sure. Please come to Indonesia, or we can travel to Johannesburg or capital or somewhere in South Africa. Yeah.
Come to South Africa. I got you. Anyone watching who wants to come to South Africa or has thought of coming to South Africa, I tell you, This is a country that you want to come to. Everything you've heard about South Africa is false because people think, okay, I don't have a lion outside my door right now. Number one. Number two, number two, nobody stole from me or tried to rob me or kill me. Crime, it's not as bad as any of you think. Just believe me. Don't believe CNN. Believe me. I live here. South Africa is a beautiful country. Come through. We've got the most amazing food, the most amazing people, amazing and diverse cultures. Do you know that there are 11 languages in South Africa? That's how diverse we are. 11 languages, 11 different cultures. So come through to South Africa. You'll never regret it.
Thank you so much, Ancillar. It's one of the best closing here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, thank you, Ancillar, and thank you everyone for watching us right now or later on after this video is posted in Jadi PNS YouTube. Thank you so much, and see you in the next session in Jadi PNS. Thank you so much.